as, oh,
I
go
want
ahead.
to record this because it's good.
Okay. Okay. Um, and excuse me, Commit to Democracy is a wonderful organization. You can find it online. It's commit and then the number two, democracy. It was started by two women in Walnut Creek, which is right on the other side of the hill from us. And they have consistently kept up with things that we can do on a, nonviolent protesting movement. It starts with, sorry, more interference. Um, we have,
Woke up my dog.
we've got two of them and they both get started. It gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
It starts with what?
Um, so things like writing postcards to various constituencies. They can provide you with a list of people who did not vote in the last election, or who were registered as Democrats but did not vote, and and then you can write postcards specifically to their or excuse me, what whether they're running for a judgeship. There was Susan Crawford up in I think it was Wisconsin, who won the election because people like us were writing postcards, you know, claiming that this was a very important effort that we needed to make and support her. So, and then there's John Osloff in Georgia. And we're doing this on a regular basis, the writing postcards. The other thing is, I'd mentioned when Frank said he just sold this Tesla, that we have regular Tesla protests, which are quiet and peaceful and community. You make friends there, but you have signs that are very definitely being shown on social media about, that this is not something that we want to put up with too much longer.
This weekend for Memorial Day, there are protests all over California on the freeway overpasses.
Right. In fact, on Labor Day, which coincidentally happens to be my daughter's birthday, but anyways, from just simple time,
Your birthday.
4:30 to 5:30, on San Pablo Avenue, they're having, it's the extension of the No Kings Day, and then it becomes the mobilize, let's mobilize. And that's just, you go out there and you hold up signs, and it is the most inspiring thing to do, because you have the police guys driving by and honking their horn and waving. You have the fire trucks going by and honking their horn and waving, and then just all the people who are coming, either commuting or not commuting on. And it's really, it makes you feel like there is hope that you can do something. Other things are, of course, call your senators, call your Congress people, call Republicans in other districts if you can get into them, and just tell them how unhappy you are, that this is not a good thing.
And would you hold up the Biden administration as an example of a good Democratic administration?
I'm not going to get in that argument, Bill.
You know what, Bill? I think what's happening here is we tend to want to call the other one an idiot, so on and so forth. There are good things that everybody's done,
right?
Some bad things that they've done, and some of them may have not been intentional. Some of them have been intentional. And I think what we have to do is, if we really want to work to make this country as good as it has been over the past 250 years for us, is to really take a look and say, okay, there are good things here that we can do. We don't have to have, a socialist, telling us what to do necessarily. And we don't have to name call everybody. And I just did that. As I said that, I realized I'm doing that myself. And we have to start learning to say, okay, Trump has done some things that are a lot of things that are bad as far as a lot of us are concerned, but there's been some good in it. And some of the stuff had some good intentions. They just haven't been carried out properly, or in a humanitarian, human way.
Or legal.
And that's been the biggest problem. I mean, you don't go cutting the government by saying, okay, we're going to cut 50% here and 100% there and not even think about the consequences of it. You have to look at it. I mean, it's like I had a friend who said, do you know any government employees that are good? And I said, yes. And I found a few in interaction with government employees. Sometimes they're working hard, a lot of them.
Can I just tell you a side note on a personal experience about government employees? My second husband was working for the Reagan administration. He was in the Council of Economic Advisors. During that time that he was there, he was one of the good guys, actually, in terms of my beliefs, because he was a person that stood up and said, the war in Afghanistan makes no sense at all. We're just going in there because of the oil interests that have the Gulf War. I'm sorry. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there. What I want to say is that in the 8 years he was part of this administration, the people that were really running the government, that had really good hearts and that were doing this for a very concerted belief in what they were doing and what the United States were the government employees. Everybody from the secretaries that worked for him to people that were working in various organizations throughout the whole. Yes, right. My husband just put down a note to me. He says, the Michael Lewis wrote a wonderful book recently about government employees. And you can see they're the ones that the behind the scenes that are doing all the good stuff that had been done. And they're also the ones that have been, given the pink slip this last time for no reason at all. People, there was this guy in in this book that also talked about the one guy who took care of the Arlington Memorial and the people that were coming, that were being interred there, and the families of the people that were being in, and the responsibility he has for the families of the veterans, that especially, it is so precious to think that, beyond the bluster and all this other stuff, that there are people that really cared and were doing wonderful at their jobs. And they are the ones that are being arbitrarily dissed, we're not going to have this anymore. It costs too much money, or there's a lot of whatever it is, not slander, but scamming done, which is ridiculous.
The ironic thing is he's added to the budget, not decreased he added to the debt. So all of those cuts haven't done anything. My goddaughter worked for
the ceiling has been raised for the debt. They voted to raise the ceiling for the debt so they can have more debt.
Yeah, that's right. I know. The whole thing is absurd, and it is evil, and it is cruel, and it has got to be stopped. It's got to be stopped before. And this one, Bill, when you said, well, they were armed, yes, they did have guns. They didn't use them because they didn't have to, but it's been a known fact that if you are entering a conflict situation and you have guns, that all of a sudden those guns are going to be used somehow or another. And how about just the fact that there have been approval of the camouflage weapons, or whatever you call that, and 2 kids were killed in Massachusetts the other day.
The gun stock ones where you could shoot just nonstop?
No, but the kids were killed. That's what I'm telling you.
Minnesota,
In school.
Minneapolis.
That's at Minneapolis.
Oh, this recent one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday. Yeah.
So, this is a much bigger picture than we really realize. And I think it's really important to be aware of it and to try the small things, consistent things, join with community, get things going on a very, consistent basis, calling the people that are in power and telling them how you feel about this, and that you're not approving this, and that or that you are, and what they're doing is great, whatever it is that you happen to do.
So I wrote a book called Resist: Goals and Tactics for Changemakers.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I researched everything I could find about how to be effective, so that might help. Bill, what do you like about Trump?
Well, I think he sealed up the border, and if you don't have borders, you don't have a country. And he's deporting the people who came in, which I think is right, because the goal of the Democratic Party was to get as many people into these blue states, especially to get increased representation in the House of Representatives. I mean, that's the goal. And they want to control
That's a goal.
power. So,
I've never heard that as a goal.
well, it's very well known. I mean, the
Well-
Democrats won't admit it, but that's the strategy. That's why they dispersed them all throughout the country.
I've never heard that.
Dispersed to get jobs, but what else do you like about Trump and his methods?
The fact that we didn't increase taxes.
For the poor, it's going to be more money and cost of living, but for the rich,
Say that again?
the cost of living has gone up for poor people and low middle income people, and their taxes are going up. So the rich benefited, but that's it.
Their taxes are not
corporations.
going up. He
No,
maintained it.
their income will be affected by the inflation, especially with the tariffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
inflation may, but
And
wages.
that makes a difference with when your wages are static.
Yeah, but wages
Inflation
are,
basically is reducing your ability to buy a $1.5 million house on a
yeah,
on $100,000 salary.
wages are actually going up. So I don't think that's an issue. I mean, you wish they would go up more, but that's. I think the efforts he's made in getting peace agreements with these various countries throughout the world has been very effective.
Appealing to Putin and kissing Putin's rear end, that's effective.
That's an opinion, that's not fact. But I'm talking, put that aside, he did what, 5 other peace agreements in Africa, Pakistan. I mean, go down the line.
He's done some.
Cambodia.
Yeah.
No, that's that I give him that. Not
So-
in Ukraine, but other countries.
Well, look, you got a crazy man with Putin, and
Hello.
so
Hey, if he's Russian, he's crazy. How about?
I mean, the guy's a psychopath. So,
Yeah.
how do you deal with someone like
Trump
that?
loves him.
He didn't love him. Trump's a good negotiator, so he's trying to
That's what he's told you.
use a different tactic than ignoring him like Biden did. He didn't even talk to him for 4 years. So if you're going to negotiate, you have to set up some line of communication. And I think that's all Trump did was initiate that with the Alaska thing, and that'll be ongoing, hopefully. But
Then there's the Epstein tapes. How do you feel about that?
well, we don't have any facts. I mean, I think that
It's the problem.
We know Trump was a philanderer, but
There were thousands of references to Trump in the Epstein files. The
but
FBI.
that's not
said that.
to
that's
what year? To what year? It was prior to 2003.
So, philander is one thing, a pedophile is another, Bill. And
Well-
these women that were abused were way
Girls.
underage. And it's disgusting even to think that he would be tainted with it at any way, shape, or form.
Are you accusing him of being a pedophile?
Absolutely.
And do you have any knowledge, direct knowledge?
There
of
was a
that?
14-year-old girl that I saw on Wikipedia's list of the 20, however many women who accused him of assault. And she did accuse him of raping her and hitting her. And then, of course, she withdrew the legal challenge because he paid her off or made it too difficult. So
Right.
14, I call a pedophile.
Yeah.
Okay. He Trump kicked Epstein out of the Mar-a-Lago in 2003 because he was
stealing his employees,
yeah. So he had no
young
relationship
employees.
with Epstein after 2003. So there's no factual knowledge that he had any pedophile relationships.
If that's the case, then why doesn't he just release the files? Why is it such a camouflage?
But what files are you talking about?
The
The whole
Epstein file.
thing.
What's the Epstein file? Tell me what that is.
The FBI has thousands of pages that they've gone through and marked where Trump's name is mentioned, so they don't want to
Yeah,
reveal that.
yeah.
How do you know that?
Because they FBI employees said it
Fox
was
News reported on it.
in the news.
I'm sure your Bible, came out of it.
No, those files were available to the Biden administration for 4 years. There was never any revelation. If this was
Because we had a
leaning
stupid
to Trump,
attorney general.
that would have been released.
Okay.
So I don't think there's any credibility to that.
Well, I'm glad I brought it up because this is the way we're going to end my conversation.
I wanted to say something about the cruel way that immigration is being handled, and it could have been done in such a different way. I'm for all the immigrants here being legal or have temporary legal access so that they can pick our vegetables, et cetera, in the jobs that they do, and then they give the money to their families that are that are starving down in various countries. Why don't they just have a center where they, instead of sending them away without revealing whether they're guilty or not of any crime, why don't they have a center where they completely vet them, and if they are vetted and shouldn't be sent back, give them the paperwork and some kind of a pro bono attorney to help them fill it out and go through the channel they should have gone in the first place. There are many people who came to this country that were under such duress. They just wanted to get here. They didn't really understand or know or were near a center where they could be processed. And they've been here for years. They should just have a center where they process them rather than throw everybody out and ruin our economy, etc. I don't know why they don't.
I think it was called Bracero law in California, where there were legal ways to migrate, and I could come and pick in the summer and then go home in the winter, and it was all legal. I don't know what happened to that.
They were
Yeah,
slave,
I
they were
used to
slave
manage-
laborers.
I used to manage the Bracero program, coincidentally, in Chico in like 1960 or 61. And those guys loved it. They come up and work for 6 months, go home and didn't have to work for 6 months. They come back. The program got disbanded and I forget why, but I think that's a very logical answer. And to your comments, why should people who come here illegally get priority over those who spent years trying to get here legally?
Well, that's a good question, that they've been here for so long
I got to go. Bye-bye.
kick them out,
I see it, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
just to kick people out that have been good citizens and they haven't done any crimes.
Yeah. But, it takes 6 or 7 years to come here legally.
That's
And a
that's
lot of
that's
money.
that's a good question, and a lot of money.
You
Yeah.
got to have an
Why-
attorney, and it's
Yeah.
Who,
Do other countries do this, where, let's say, I'd like to immigrate to France? Am I going to have to pay a lot of money to become to immigrate and live there? Am I going to have to? Is there any other country that demands you pay so much money?
What do we demand? How much money do we demand?
whatever the attorney.
I don't know.
So you're talking about third party.
I'm talking about, don't you have to come up with a certain amount of money to give to the government in order to even apply to be here for a green card, etc.?
We'll have to look that up. Next time, let's talk about being super agers.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about that.
Well, we all are super agers.
So how old do you have to be a super ager?
I don't know, but we make it.
Right, so how do you continue being a super ager?
Well, that's what I want to talk about. What
What's
we've
more
done
important?
right. So, an
Are we-
evidence-based approach to longevity by Eric Topol.
Is that our reading assignment for
Yes.
this month?
Yes.
When are we going to talk again?
Well, we talk every month.
And it's usually what, the last?
There's no usual.
Oh, okay.
But I know you don't want Wednesday afternoons, so I don't do Wednesdays.
You're sweet. Thank you.
And Anne, where do you live in Berkeley? Because sometimes I come up for a visit and I'd love to
Oh,
have lunch with
that'd be
you or
wonderful.
something.